The burner won't light in 40-degree wind. I've got my hand cupped around it, click, 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 the piezoelectric igniter doing its thing, and the flame keeps dying. Click, click, click. I once approved a catering budget of $4.2 million for a single production. Craft services in Vancouver, truffle oil, a dedicated risotto station. The craft services coordinator called me to confirm the smoked salmon allocation, and I said yes without looking up from the call sheet. Click, click, click. The burner catches. The flame is small and blue and alive, and I feel, I don't know, something close to victory. That's not how I would have packaged it. I'm parked on a gravel road in the Mojave, south of 29 Palms. No name for this road on any map I've found. A scar in the caliche, pale, chalky soil, running between two ridges of weathered granite. Joshua trees on both sides, their arms in that particular gesture that never quite resolves into anything comprehensible. Like they're reaching for something that moved while they weren't looking. I've been here 3 days. I'll stay another 2, maybe 3, then move north toward the coast. No fixed calendar, no location locked in. In January, the desert does something at 6:45 in the morning that I still don't have language for. The light goes from nothing to pink to this specific amber that turns everything warm without warming anything. The granite changes color 3 times before you've finished your first cup. I look at the Breitling on my wrist, 6:47. You want to know how a man gets from a Dolby Theater seat, Best Picture, second time, the category you spent your career actually wanting, to a gravel road in the Mojave with a 2-burner propane stove and a Planet Fitness membership for the showers. I know how this sounds. I've produced 3 films where the protagonist has exactly this kind of epiphany in a natural setting. I always thought the writer was being lazy. Man of power and wealth retreats to the wilderness and discovers his soul. In development, I'd push back. It's too easy. Give him something to lose that he doesn't see coming. The writer was not being lazy. Meridian Pictures, Burbank, 1988. I started it with $40,000 and a lease on a 3rd-floor office on Olive Avenue. By 1992, it was real. By 1998, I had first-look deals with 2 studios and enough packaging relationships to get any project into a room. CAA, WME, UTA, you build those relationships one lunch at a time, and they take 6 years to become real. And then they're real, and you're in the machine. The machine has a grammar. In the morning, you read Variety and The Hollywood Reporter, and you're triangulating. What's in development? What's dead? Who just had a hit and is suddenly expensive? Who just had a flop and is suddenly available? A producer assembles elements: IP, director, actor. If those 3 things can exist in the same sentence at the same time, you have a package. And with a package, you have leverage. And with leverage, you get the green light conversation. I was excellent at this. I had a genuine talent for seeing how things fit together. It was pattern recognition applied to human beings. I built Meridian into something that mattered. In editing, and every producer learns this fast, the rough cut is sacred. It's everything. Every scene, every take, every angle. Raw, overlong, contradictory. Beautiful in a way the final cut never is. The director's first instinct of what the film could be before anyone tells them what it has to be. What happens next is the process. Studio notes, test screenings, distributor notes. The film finds its shape through subtraction. You cut what doesn't work. You adjust the ending so audiences leave feeling correctly. I spent 35 years in Final Cut. Polishing, cutting what didn't test well. I was so good at the Final Cut that I forgot I'd never actually seen my own rough cut. I didn't know what I was like before I'd been edited for the room. I gave a director his first film. He was 27 when we met, a Sundance short, 12 minutes, technically assured in a way that was exciting. I spent 2 years developing the project with him, and then $2.1 million making it. We worked closely for 4 years. I know details about his life that his closest friends don't know. I heard he'd been hired for an $85 million project at A24. I heard from Deadline, the trades, the same place I read about everyone else's life. He never called. I'm sitting with that because it needs to sit correctly. He never called, not a text. And when I'm honest about it, sitting in this van in this desert, the thing that broke me wasn't the betrayal. It was the realization that from his perspective, there was nothing to betray. I had moved out of his calculations. In the grammar of this business, not useful equals not present. He wasn't being cruel. He was being accurate. That's not how I would have packaged it. That winter I went through my contacts, 212 names, and tried to identify who would call me if I didn't call first. I got to 12 before I realized what I was doing was a development slate for a version of friendship I had never actually produced. The tinnitus started during a pitch meeting at Netflix. A high-pitched tone in my right ear, not loud, not debilitating, persistent. Like a monitor someone left on. It has not stopped. It's with me now, in the van, in the desert, in the quiet. A specific frequency no audiologist can explain. The insomnia, 2-3 hours a night for 8 months. A tremor in my right hand, mild, appearing first during a call with a studio executive. I lost 11 kilograms without trying. My assistant, Carolyn, who ran my professional life for 20 years with a competence I never adequately acknowledged, told me in September 2022 that I looked like someone who'd been living on airplanes for 2 years. I said I hadn't been on a plane in 3 months. She looked at me in a way that meant she wasn't talking about planes. November 2022. Netflix offices, Sunset Strip. The same pitch, revised. New executive in the room. The previous ones had rotated out, which happens every 8 months at streaming platforms in a cycle that makes long-term relationships structurally impossible. Same laptop angle. Same glass conference room that looks out over Los Angeles like a terrarium for the careers of people who haven't yet stopped being useful. I was 20 minutes into the pitch when I heard my own voice. I mean, I heard the actual sound of my own voice coming out of my body, and I did not recognize the speaker. The words were correct. The emotional beats were calibrated. And the voice doing all of this was mine, and the person delivering it did not believe any of it, and could not remember when they had stopped believing it. I stopped in the middle of a sentence. I said, "I need a minute." I locked myself in the bathroom at the end of the hall. I looked in the mirror for 4 minutes. I know because I was watching the Breitling. The same Breitling on my wrist right now. My reflection looked like a man who was very tired in a specific way that sleep does not fix. I walked back to the conference room, collected my jacket and phone. The executives looked up. I said, "I'm sorry, I have to go." I left. I sat in the parking garage of my building for, I don't know how long. Long enough that the automated lights turned off twice. I had applied those skills to myself for 35 years without noticing. The packaging, the positioning, the calibrated warmth, the bio I wrote for my own production company website. Award-winning producer Richard Aldrich has spent 3 decades at the intersection of commercial ambition and artistic integrity. Not false, exactly. A final cut. It removes everything that would complicate the picture. There is a Maya and there is a Claire. Maya is 38, Portland, landscape architect. She builds things that are meant to stay. I was not at her thesis defense. I was at Sundance. She has never said this is why things are the way they are between us. She has never had to say it. Claire is 35. She teaches English in Japan. She chose a country where no one knows my name. I understood that choice immediately. That's not how I would have packaged it. But it's what the rough cut shows. The van is a 2020 Ford Transit. I converted it myself over 6 weeks, built the sleeping platform from 3/4-inch marine plywood, ran the wiring for the 200-watt solar panel. I learned everything from YouTube. This struck me as hilarious. 35 years of packaging film projects, and the most useful thing I ever learned came from a 26-year-old in Idaho. The plywood platform is not perfect. There's a gap on the driver's side rear that I shimmed with cedar trim, and it's still not flush. I keep meaning to fix it. I haven't. I'm not sure I'm going to. The gap is more honest than the rest of it. 3 times a week I drive to a Planet Fitness. $25 a month, nationwide access. I shower. I watch people in the gym mirrors trying to make themselves into something they've decided they should be, and I don't feel above that. I was doing that for 35 years in conference rooms. The equipment was just different. Water is the actual problem. A 6-liter jug lasts 2 to 3 days if you're careful. The most concrete calculation in my day. No spreadsheet, no financial model. The jug is full or the jug is not full. At night, the van makes sounds. The metal expands and contracts as the temperature drops. A low pop that moves across the roof, forward to rear, when the temperature crosses a threshold. The van is breathing. I lie on the 4-inch foam mattress and I listen to it. Out here the days are rough cut, rambling, scene changes that make no narrative sense, no 3-act arc, no payoff. I wake up and there's no one to pitch the day to. There's the light on the Joshua trees, and there's the water jug, and there's the coffee I have to protect from the wind to keep lit. I'm still learning to sit with that. I look at the Breitling, bought it in 2001, during a production that turned out badly, consolation gift to myself. It cost more than the van. Everyone expected me to sell it when I changed everything. I didn't. Out here I check it out of habit, then realize I'm not late for anything. Whatever the time is will simply be the time that it is. The tinnitus is still there, the frequency in the right ear constant. I've stopped fighting it. It's become something I move around rather than through. Like a piece of furniture in a room you've lived in long enough that you've forgotten what the room looked like without it. Maya builds things that are meant to last. Claire teaches people to speak in a country that doesn't know my name. The Breitling is on my wrist, and I don't know exactly what time it is. And the wind is coming down from the ridge, low and steady, and the van is breathing. I'm still seeing the rough cut. It's long. It contradicts itself. Some scenes don't connect to what came before or after. I don't know what the final cut would look like, or if there is one, or if I'm the right person to make it. But it's the first time I'm seeing it. The flame on the fogadero is small and blue against the dark. The coffee water is starting to move, just barely. The first suggestion of a simmer. The Breitling says something between 4 and 5. The Joshua trees say nothing.